Hi! Today's a continuation on my blouse making series where I make all of the patterns that I have for blouses, the whimsical edition. The two blouses I'm going to be focusing on are the bow blouse by Roberts Wood and the Coraline blouse by Cause Patterns. I've already made the bow blouse before. I made a whole video about it. I'll link it below. And I found that that one was a bit too big for me, so this one I sized down for. I'm making it out of old men's shirts that I got from the thrift store. I have 3 different dress shirts for this project in varying shades of blue. 2 are a drapier material and one's a bit stiffer because it's 100% cotton. I suspect the drapier shirts are a polyester blend. I don't know for sure because the tags are either worn out or cut out. I want to use the lighter blue for the bow part of the pattern. This pattern calls for 3 fabrics, but I want to try and do it out of 2. So I want to use the lighter blue fabric for the bows and the darker blue fabric for everything else. I cut apart the shirts. I ironed all of the fabric that resulted from this process. For the bow color, I didn't have enough to cut out another set of cuffs, so I decided to just reuse the cuffs that were attached to the shirt before. I think that they're a good size match, even though they're a tiny bit smaller. I organized all of the pieces by number and then by letter. The number is the row and then the letter is like the column, I guess. The sleeves start by SL and then a number and then a letter, and that's how you tell the pieces apart. And so I organized all of the body pieces and the sleeve pieces. I'm going to start this blouse by working on the sleeves. I started with SL1A. I pinned every piece right side together and then I sewed them. I pressed the seams open. I serged the seams and then pressed them again, this time towards the bow, and then I top stitched that down. I did this for every seam. I constructed the rows and then I attached the rows together. For the last row of the sleeve, I cut it out without the opening for the cuff. I just ignored the hole and folded the cuff placket down. I didn't like how that part turned out in the last sleeve because there's raw edges left and I don't like raw edges. So I'm going to make this one with a different method, which we will get to when we get to. I'm not going to talk about it now. The tension on my machine is giving me grief. I've tried everything to fix it. I took it apart, I oiled it, I cleaned it, I switched the needle, I changed the tension, I switched my thread. Nothing was working, and that's why my seams look a little puckered, which is frustrating. I just took my machine to have maintenance, which should fix the tension issues, and that's going to take about a week. I won't be putting this video out in the time that I had planned to put it out. It'll be out after Halloween, so I'm sorry that you had to wait so long. My camera broke, so I don't know if you can see me right now. I'm filming with my phone. I haven't talked to you in a few months about this project. It's taken much longer than I anticipated. I have made this before, but I think I had more time the last time I made it. I've only been able to do about a row of patchworking a week. So I've just finished patchworking everything together, and I've already veered away from the instructions on the pattern. So from here forward, I'm going to be winging it. I already changed the 5A pattern pieces. I don't have them here, but they were a square with a square cut out of it. And I made it so it was just a square because they have quite a deep hemline on this shirt, and I didn't want to have that deep of a hemline. I am still considering doing a dolphin hem, the kind that's typically on a button-up, but I'm not sure if it'll look good with this shirt, so I'm still thinking about that. I think the next step that I'm going to take is working on the cuffs, and I'm going to start by choosing where to add a slit and adding a slit on the sleeve and then binding that with bias tape. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to be making 2 tops in this video because it is now fully into November and it's really cold out. And also, my pants are wearing out, the ones that I got at the thrift store last year. So I think that this is going to be the intro to a new video series that I'm going to call Patchwork or something like that. I haven't decided on the name yet, but I want to make an entire patchwork outfit. I want to use this shirt, and then I also have a pants pattern made for patchwork. And I do have the Roberts Wood bow pants pattern, and I've made that before, but I don't know how to alter it to have a full bum adjustment, and I really need that for my body type. And also, I really need a zipper fly. I just last night purchased the pattern The Jigsaw Pants by Marley Rookers. That is an elasticated pants pattern made entirely out of rectangles. I'm hoping that I'll be able to alter those to give me more space in the seat, as well as I'm considering adding the zipper fly from the chanterelle pants. The chanterelle pants pattern by So Liberated, the main pattern has just an elasticated waist, and then they do make new pattern pieces for the zipper fly front, but I wonder if I can just add the zipper fly and then make the elastic start farther out. It's still elasticated at the waist, but I have that zipper to get it over my hips. And then the third thing I want to make for that outfit is the retazo coat by So Liberated. Retazo, I believe, means crumb in Spanish, and that's made out of like patchwork your own fabric. And these two items that I've just been speaking of, the jigsaw pants and the retazo coat, I want to make using up my scraps. The goal of this project, of this series of videos. So this is mainly an excuse to use up my scraps. Both of these patterns, I plan to use the scraps that I have left over from all the trousers I've been making over the last year. They will be thicker materials, and so I think that it'll make a nice coat. It'll be nice and warm, and it'll also make nice trousers. I'm going to make the slit in the sleeve, bind that with bias binding, and then I'm going to add the cuff. And for the cuff, I'm reusing the cuffs from the light blue button up. I think that'll be good. Here's how it looks after I sewed it down on the wrong side. And now I'm gonna fold the binding over to the right side and stitch it down again. And there it is, stitched from the right side. So now I'm gonna trim the excess bias binding away. And then on the inside, I'm gonna fold it even like that and sew a 45-degree stitch here. Like that. And now I'm going to sew on the cuff, and I'm not going to film that because it's frustrating enough. I've just constructed one of the cuffs, and I'm very happy with how it turned out, even though there's this weird bump here. I think that this is really cute. I tried it on and I love it. I'm so excited. I'll tell you what I did. First, I chose the outside bow to be the side that has the cuff on it. And I cut a slit 2 inches up, and now I have a bit of homemade bias binding, and I'm gonna sew it on the wrong side. I'm gonna sew it down. Hello and welcome to a new week. It is currently Monday, November 22nd, I think. I've done minimal work on my bow blouse because I've been really anxious lately, and when I'm really anxious, what I find really helps me is knitting or crocheting, so I've been focusing on that. I did, however, do the hem of the bow blouse. I didn't film it, but I used my preferred method, which I've outlined in a bunch of my videos, where I sew bias binding with the edges lining up to the edge of the shirt. I fold the finished edge of the bias binding towards the seam allowance and sew on that fold as close to the fold as I can, and then I trim the excess seam allowance. I fold that whole bit to the inside and stitch it down. So now all I have to do for this project is the button placket and the collar. The button placket, I'm basically just winging it now, right? Because I'm not following the instructions anymore. So for the button placket, I'm gonna measure the width of the button placket on the pattern pieces and follow that as a guide. I think I'm going to do snap buttons instead of actual buttons. This is dependent on if I have enough snap buttons for this, but I think I do. I just really like snap buttons. No, I'm gonna measure the button placket on the pattern, and then I'm going to interface the button placket, iron the button placket down, and then I'll start looking at the collar. It is a couple weeks later. I did not work on the shirt after I said I was going to in the last clip. I have not been feeling passionate about sewing lately. I'm not excited about sewing right now. I did eventually finish the shirt, at least as far as I can for now. I put together the collar on Saturday, which was 2 days ago. I really enjoyed that process. It was a little fiddly, but I felt like I was capable of it, which was really good for me at the time. Today, I did the button placket as well as attaching the collar to the shirt. I really want to use snaps to close the shirt. I don't have any anymore. I don't know what happened because I had so many. I must have used them all. So I've ordered some, but they won't come till next week because I don't have Amazon Prime. I'm gonna end this video without having completely finished the shirt because I've been working on it for like 3 months, and I think that that's long enough. Probably my videos going forward won't be about sewing so much anymore, at least for the next couple of months. Sewing takes a lot more brain energy for me, and my brain energy is quite low right now. In future, you can look forward to a lot more crocheting and knitting videos. I'm really excited about crocheting lately. It tickles my brain and makes me happy, so that's what I'm going to be focusing on right now. I feel like I should be doing more sewing because I feel like that's what a lot of my viewers are interested in, but the thing is, it's not giving me joy. All of my making, the whole purpose of it is to give me joy. So if it's not giving me joy, what's the point? You know? I'm just gonna do the things that make me happy, and I'll take you along for the ride. And that way, this will be a more pleasant experience for both of us, because I won't feel like I'm forcing myself to do something, and you won't have to watch me being unhappy forcing myself to do something. So that's it for this video. Just one blouse for you. It is pretty darn whimsical. I hope you enjoyed this video, even though it was like months long and it's only 10 minutes somehow. I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.